well, they want to make it to Worlds.
It's true.
An Aurelia ban, actually.
Well, that says Nidalee to me somewhat.
Yeah,
I know
me too.
a lot of the NA pros say Nidalee is beaten up by Aurelia. Westrice did.
I kind of feel like Nidalee's held in check by Aurelia.
Okay.
Because we've seen that matchup go both ways, but at least Aurelia can jump on top of Nidalee and punish her a little bit.
Well, we saw compLexity beat up Dignitas with the Aurelia just basically last week, so
yeah,
got to figure that's their chance right here to stymie that. The Evelynn goes away from Kez, smart choice. That's pretty much his favorite jungler. And otherwise, not very surprising bans. 2 bans aimed at Voyboy, Casted and Tristana. Didn't expect to say that ever in commentating history, but those are Voyboy bans.
It's unfortunate too because Prolly has had some success with this split on Cassidon as well as RobertxLEE on Trist.
That's true, actually. compLexity are banning 2 of 3 champions they would really like to play themselves.
Absolutely.
But they don't want to risk it getting picked out here. They're not risking the Cassidon counter pick either. So CRS get first pick. Is it going to be Nidalee since they removed one of the counters, quote-unquote, to it? Is it Elise to deny more from Kez? I feel like he'll go back and forth with the 2 E junglers every single time.
Yeah. Keep in mind, this is the 4.12 patch. I actually feel like it'll be, of NA and EU, this is the last time we're going to be playing on the 4.12 patch, is this Super Week.
Yeah.
Because EU playoffs will be on 4.13, which is what everyone is on the live servers with. And it makes sense that CRS picks Lulu here. Actually, in one of their defeats last week, they let Lulu slide because they wanted to try Shen. Yet before that, Quas had been dominating 4 games in a row on Lulu.
And he's going to go back to it right here. So CRS's Quas Lulu going to hold the top lane here. Westrice going to make his own choices now. Of course, Gragas in his full glorious drinking power is still available if you want to play a couple of mages up there. Kez does get the Elise if he wants it. Lucian really not contested between the 2 very much, so
yeah, it's true.
It'd be surprising if it showed up here in Champ Select.
Dominate, I believe, still hasn't played Lucian in the LCS this split.
Not to my knowledge.
Starts today. Now we'll see.
I mean, hey, Saint learned it and became an incredible Lucian player as of late, actually, in the Challenger Series.
They actually might be trying to push him onto it right here. They're going to say... Well, we're going to talk about the Maokai.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Before we have the fun with the jungle.
So Maokai.
Top lane Maokai saw a ton of play in Europe during Super Week.
Yeah.
Drew bans in multiple situations, yet no one was really like, they're just silly Europe, they're just playing Maokai. And then we got to see, spoiler alert, the OGN semifinals last week between Samsung Blue and White. And in the first game, Acorn played in the top lane from Samsung Blue and went something like 10, 1, and 20 or something, and it was banned throughout the rest of it. Definitely a new emerging power in the top lane. Europe always finds it, and then people don't take it seriously until Korea plays it for some reason.
After Worlds, everyone started banning Aatrox. Like, you know what? Actually, this champion's incredible. See what else Europe can bring out here. The Zilean, I think Zilean came first in Europe as well. Because people were playing it off and on in support before Faker played it mid, and then everyone kind of hopped on that train.
Yeah. Also, I don't know about that because we saw support Zilean at All-Stars.
That's true.
As well.
You're right.
From SKT.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, Orianna coming through. Kog'Maw there as well, so everyone's splitting up their lanes for a bit. No supports, conventional support scrap just yet, though, but Cop will be well set up to deal plenty of damage with a bunch of supports already on his team.
That should be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Cop has had some successful games on Kog'Maw for sure, but he has always been that type of AD carry to sit near the back and try and pick up kills, and when you're running an Orianna Lulu comp like this, he's got to be able to flip that switch and go full-on aggressive, which has always been a difficult thing for Cop. I like the picks, though.
What's interesting, actually, is Cop played this Kog'Maw last time these guys met in the 80-minute game. He went 9-3-6, and it was still too much for him because their base eventually went down. But compLexity going to run their own hyper carry in the bot lane. Jinx coming through. Braum to support, so a fairly scary lane to fight against.
Yeah, Braum picked again, though, with Morgana still on the table.
True.
Xpecial's had some pretty darn good Morgana games.
Yes, he has.
So I'd expect that pick right here. And then the big question we'll need to answer is what IWillDominate plays in the jungle. Does he break out a Lee Sin, or does he just go back to maybe something like a Pantheon? I mean, a lot of stuff is taken away here when we consider the full breadth of jungle pool.
So I would actually kind of like Vi right here because she's one of the few champions.
Nunu. They're protecting the carry anyway.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah. 4 supports plus Cop. So the thought about Cop has been, is this kind of his breakout split? He'd always been criticized as a very passive player. We've seen him play a lot more aggressively so far this year. And now he's pretty much got to be the guy dealing damage if this team wants to win. Meanwhile, Syndra's going to face up against Orianna in the mid lane.
Damn. That's exciting. That's also Dominate's first game on Nunu, the split. He had previously played 4 straight Evelynn games, and then they themselves banned Eve. Oh, never mind, he has 1 game on Nunu. I tell a lie. So, it was a defeat against EG, actually.
There's almost the exact same comp. That game was Lulu, top lane, Nunu jungle, Ori mid, Kage carry, Nami support instead.
They've tried this before, right? And Cop typically doesn't succeed in protect the carry compositions. In general, it's not that successful of a strategy just in League of Legends as a whole, because you need to have diversified threats. So this game will actually be not just about Kog'Maw, because Kog'Maw will be threatening with this many people defending him, no matter what. It's about the second and potentially third threats. How big can Voyboy and Quas get, and how much damage can they deal to each their own?
And we'll see how the matchups go, because Prolly thought he'd kind of pick that with Syndra. We'll see if that works out in the matchup. Before the game gets underway, let's check out your guys' predictions. And according to LOLesports.com, 2/3 of you say that Curse is going to grab the win.
Yeah, keep those votes coming, though, because these games occasionally go a little bit long. Tweet hashtag CRS win or hashtag COL win to @LOLesports, and we will continue to update the fan vote. You were mentioning beforehand.
Yeah. Did you know?
I did, but you can go for it because you figured out the stat.
The average game time, this split between compLexity and Curse, is over an hour.
Correct. All right.
SuperWeek is going to be long, guys.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
That's one way to start the day.
It's going to be big, though. It's a potential tiebreaker match here. Again, 2-1 so far on the split. compLexity leads that. So if you want to go for the 2/3 thing, that should be compLexity up above.
True.
But this is a win I feel like compLexity basically must get if they want to make the playoffs.
It feels like a must-win for both teams. I mean, even if Curse lost this one, it immediately just dials the pressure up to 11 for the rest of the split.
Let's see what we got here, guys. Off to the Rift they go. Curse gonna make their way out of the blue base. Pretty normal starts all around. An extra ward here for IWillDominate. Wants to set his team up for success with the vision control. I guess to me, you talk about the fact that Curse needs an extra damage threat. That is very likely to be Voyboy primarily.
Yeah. Voyboy's Orianna has been improving every time he plays the champion. Been continually impressed with his growth as a mid laner. Actually, though, Xpecial. He doesn't even have Black Shield.
It's 5
if they get a few more hits,
get the stuns.
They would have to flash to force a flash. And they decided not to.
Okay. Well, advantage Curse. Xpecial's got $5. Despite the scariness.
5 gold coins. Plus, there's knowledge of where compLexity warded, whereas compLexity doesn't have knowledge of where Curse warded.
That's true. So, a couple saplings down. Westrice going to recall back for mana. And this is the first Maokai, I think, total we're seeing NA LCS. And one thing I've noticed is very strong about the champion is how much sustain he has. Because every, 7 to 8 spells. There we go. compLexity looking a lot better on the vote now.
compLexity fans. Koobs did call them. They have the best fans in the world. They're supporting on Twitter as well. Curse has some pretty nice fans as well. These are two teams that have a lot of solid personality on the team.
Oh, yeah.
They're just not quite being able to turn the corner into a great team. I was talking about Voyboy's Orianna a little bit as well. Some of his previous games against CLG in Week 7, 7-0-5. Against compLexity in that 80-minute game, he went 3-2-12. Even in their loss to EG, he was 2-3-7. Like, it's a champion that Voyboy has a lot of success on. A conventional mid laner that he typically hasn't excelled on. This is kind of the exception to the rule, where he's pretty good at Ori.
This was like the first champion I felt like he really tried to learn. I remember watching his stream when he very first converted to mid lane. He was spamming a bunch of Orianna games. Like, that was the first one I felt like he tried to learn. So far, it's going out pretty well for him. This is his first split as a mid laner, right? Or is it 2 now?
Well, it's his first year as a mid laner.
First season.
Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because he's a player who's been around since really the dawn of Season 2. And when you compare him to other mid laners, he's actually substantially less experienced in the role. You look at the guys from every other LCS team, and they've been playing mid lane really since the game's inception and never changed roles. So it's been an uphill battle for Voyboy in almost all of his matches this split, but he's getting there.
Ah, missed 2 minions right there.
I mean, if you've been playing mid lane for 2 more years, you wouldn't have missed that.
Yeah, easy. Just predicted the ball so much better there. The minions changed in different lanes. You know, they do more damage in the mid lane. Just got to get used to them. Voyboy. Are we just groaning for every missed CS now? Yes, we are.
As long as we're watching. He's going to get this one.
This is the more freaky version of Wards. Yeah!
Hey-oh.
40 goals, one that matters. Kez on
has
the
he been over-focusing on CS? Sometimes when you miss a few, you get vulnerable to these ganks.
Oh, what a flash, though. Gets away from the stun. Still loses the summoner spell.
And still took a bunch of damage because Kez had great gank positioning right there. Voyboy can place his Trinket Ward to avoid future ganks, and the lane will be shoving towards him. So he should be safe for a little bit, but they've lost a lot of mid lane pressure.
Oh, jeez, but Kez already has a sweeper. Dominates right around the wing. Puts a new one down.
Yeah.
Hey, I know about this one.
That's the problem with those early game sweepers. They're on such a long cooldown that Kez can't get one back.
It's 10 gold and extra CS.
90-second cooldown on that rank 1 sweeper.
Yeah. Well, let's see what they can do. Prolly still tossing some Dark Spheres down. Voy taking a bit of damage. Has to chug his 2nd potion now, so Voy is out of sustain. And he is about 10 CS down the lane so far. So this Syndra pick right now is working out, and Kez's quick visit and doing stuff as well. Of course, Nunu not the best early ganker, so I don't know if we're going to see much from Dominate.
Yeah, it's very true. Nunu would want to counter gank or just sit in a lane and pressure. But for now, he's really just working on some ward control. He has yet to really neutralize Kez. That's usually the point of a Nunu, is to just stop the other jungler from having an impact for a while. Hasn't worked yet for Dominate because Kez did have a pretty big sway in that mid lane.
And the Trinket just put down is timed out. Kez looked for the mid lane, couldn't find it, and Voyboy just hiding back as far as he can.
Boy, that's a defensive opening from Westrice. Not only did he start with a Crystalline Flask, he goes back to base and buys a Doran Shield.
Yeah.
Maokai will most likely be going for a Rod of Ages as his first item. That's what we've seen from the top lane Maokais. But it's going to be a while until he gets to that point. We'll have to see if Quas can take advantage of that. Because once Maokai does get to that Rod of Ages, he becomes a beast.
Yeah, Visage is a really big spike from him as well, but Dominate going to look to create pressure.
This is absurdly risky.
Right,
I mean, they have the pink ward, but
they're walking up to him. This has got to go down really fast. Kez right around the wings, but here's Bubbadub. Bubbadub's there a little bit late. Damage coming through. Consume Smite. Is it going to come in time? Kez wants it, and he gets the steal with the Smite. Dominate smited early, and now the damage comes across. RobertxLEE forced to run away. He will go down for first blood. And Curse gets some vengeance for the dragon going down.
Something happened with Westrice's teleport right there because it's on cooldown and he did not teleport
he
down.
Top.
He TP'd top just then and started walking down.
A while ago.
Right.
Yeah, he had TP'd back. Quas had his. He was walking the lane.
Freak with the knowledge. That play, though, in specific, was a huge steal by Kez because they still suffered a casualty thanks to the TP of Quas. And then Westrice actually wasted a bunch of time afterwards walking down to no avail. He could have been shoving top lane in all the meanwhile, but because of the Dragon Steel, compLexity has a small early game lead.
400 gold for them, and it's going to be cash all across the board. Westrice, for what it's worth, does now hold a CS lead in that top lane. And in fact, now his TP comes up about a minute sooner. Probably closer to 2 minutes sooner. He TP'd to a turret instead of a minion.
Very true. The cooldown difference. It'll be 140 seconds for Westrice, but about 240 seconds left on Quas's teleport.
All right.
So a good minute-and-a-half window there where Westrice could teleport and make a play if he so chooses.
Minions going down very successfully for Voyboy. Full wave. There you go, guys.
I'm still a little perplexed by Curse's choice to Dragon there. I could see it being safer if Quas would have teleported down for the take itself, because that would have made it more suicidal for Kez to go in for a steal in the first place because Quas could have zoned him out. But instead, they made it a steal battle, which Kez was able to win. I think that was a poor timing of teleport there for Curse.
Yeah. It was like a calculated risk where it's like, I think they might not check. Maybe they had that pink ward down. There's no wards here.
True. As soon as Kez was spotted in the ward, I think they should have taken the teleport.
Yeah, no, you're right. That would have been a bit safer for them. Bubbadub says, hey, that's a ward. Kills that. 30 gold for himself. Didn't miss the CS there. It's pretty hard to, I suppose.
Gets that sweet ward money. Ooh.
Special blocks out the slow. Puddle gets him some money back, and RobertxLEE is going to have to chug a health potion. Yeah, pickaxe to Phage.
Exactly, and with the early pickaxe, you kind of see he didn't want to come back to lane empty-handed. He was the lone fatality from that dragon contest, and I think in a perfect world, he would have laned until BF Sword. this will eventually slow down his power. Now he has to wait for his next BF sword, which will give Cop a window of power if he can go back and get another component of his Trinity Force before Robert gets BF.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll happen before level 6, though.
Well, it's going to be about a 300 gold difference between the two items. Robert did cash in on boots as well, so he kind of reset his gold back to 0.
True.
Occasionally you'll see people just like really delay boots and say, no, I really want this combined as soon as possible. I've seen AD carries not have boots, like boots 1, 3 items in, unlike Ezreal. Every once in a while. They just want the damage output. Voyboy, more wards going down. Sweeper is coming out. Curse already has 3, as does compLexity here. And right now we've seen Curse, red buff, level 6 looking in the southern jungle with Bubbadub.
Dominate. Do you dare counter jungle the Nunu?
There's a spider. Cocoon lands. Spiderling's there as well. The slow comes out. He's going to have to flash the wall and does so because does not want to chase in enemy territory. And is not going to be able to smite the big golem either. But hey, it's a flash down and control over the bottom jungle. Quas and Westrice in a bit of a trade right there. Shield comes out. Good harass down.
Now, Westrice is just taking as much damage he can. I think he's going to TP back to lane again for defensive purposes. Talking about that counter jungling move by Kez, though, this is a complete role reversal from what is supposed to happen in a Nunu versus Elise matchup, or what at least we've seen every time this matchup has went down. It's the Nunu pushing Elise off buffs normally, but Kez has been the one to get the first sight stone, establish vision control, and harass the Nunu off of buffs. So fantastic job by Kez and crew to make that happen.
Even secured neutral objectives.
Yep.
That's like Nunu's like #1 hallmark. So
he stole it.
Yeah. So Kez playing great. You know, the ban on Evelyn came through, but Curse did not place a high priority on stealing the Elise away. Kez takes that first round, and by doing so gives Curse Orianna Kog'Maw.
That's a lot of damage.
A lot of damage on a Robert. The flash really comes in. Nice knock up there from Bubbadub. Actually just narrowly missed the Xpecial, it looks like. Big damage off onto the Morgana, though. 1 hit from dead. Robert still in the fight.
Oh, man.
1 hit from get excited. No, that's not going to be enough damage. The stat missed as well, but here comes Prolly. There's the kill. Now top flashes in for Robert, but he's going to get stunned. And a double kill for Prolly. Get excited, trying to run away. Looks like Jinx passive hard counters Kog'Maw's.
Oh man, what a fight there for compLexity. The Braum Jinx out-dueling the Kog'Maw Morg right there, using all summoner spells in the exchange. But basically it was just because Prolly roamed down. He did have Voyboy pushed in ever so slightly and was able to roam down, because this fight was pretty much going to be 0 kill by the very end of it, because they traded everything quite well, obviously. The level 6 damage from Cop's ultimate was quite a lot onto Robert. And right here, Xpecial, he was going to get away if Prolly didn't make it through. But then he gets the flash Q and they finish him off. Cop tries to flash in. A smart move to get in for the desperation, but miscalculated the fact that Get Excited is faster than the Kog'Maw passive. Today I learned.
Yep. Did you know, actually, Get Excited slows down whereas Kog'Maw speeds up? Like you get the burst at the beginning and then it tapers off. Kog'Maw actually accelerates through the passive, so. Couldn't quite catch in time.
You could kind of tell Cop was saying, even if I don't get this kill, I'll kill him with my passive because he's out of summoner spells.
Couldn't quite do it. It's pretty unfortunate for Cop, but maybe they can claw their way back into this one. Only down 1,000 gold right here, and you said, hey, maybe these guys can match up with their second item, but the 2 assists let RobertxLEE get his BS sword the same time as the Zeal, but he has no potion, so Robert, 0 sustain. He was waiting on ambient gold when he bought the BF sword.
True, I wonder. Let me check his runes as well. Yeah, he has 3% lifesteal, so...
A Doran's Blade?
Yep.
That's it.
That's it.
It's about to be like 2 quints. Wait, no.
Yeah.
It's past 4.10. Well, pink ward control here for compLexity. 2 of them already on top of the dragon area.
Exactly.
Dominate sweep.
No summoner spells down for either AD carry. Both very immobile, so this next fight could be a little bit hazardous for AD carries if they go in at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Both top laners have their teleports up as well. If they decide to match or stay up, they both have ways of interrupting each other's teleports. It's really all about vision control here and how imposing compLexity can act. They're pretty damn imposing right now. But the dragon will pack a punch if they try and do it.
Absolutely are.
Bit of a standoff.
Yeah. And honestly, the only lane that's really making headway is the top lane, actually. Westrice was forced back to base, has the Rod of Ages, but Quas is nearly going to take this turret down in a completely untarnished one-on-one. Quas's first pick, Lulu, takes the turret down. equal CS to Westrice, but has gold for his team now.
True. I think it's a good thing he took it down there because Westrice just finished his Rod of Ages, which is a huge item for Maokai. And Kez feels like he has enough vision control. We could see a repeat of the last fight, but roles reversed. He's got to back away before taking too much damage. He's also going to be out of Spiderlings when this fight starts. If Curse could find a correct initiation, it might be their way back into the lead.
Xpecial keeps taking zaps to the back of the head, though. Damage comes through. Slow doesn't because of Black Shield. And he's seeing his bottom lane turret down about half HP. I think right now, compLexity's AD carry does a little bit more damage in a team fight.
Interesting that IWillDominate is playing around that red buff when the dragon is so clearly the contestable objective.
Oh yeah, wow. They might just be giving this one up and trying to play for something else. Maybe they can pressure something, but this dragon goes over to Kaz very cleanly. compLexity claimed that one. Curse wanted to play somewhere else in the map and said, you know what, they got us here. Should be a pretty clean smite on this. There's the red buff steal.
Found the Nunu. compLexity made an educated guess there that Nunu wasn't going to be in range. Just because the rest of Curse was backing off so much, and they just brute forced the dragon down.
So Westrice is getting back to his turn.
Very curious call, honestly. I think it was dangerous for them to walk up towards that pit just with how strong Prolly was with his Athene's Unholy Grail. But still, giving up that mid-game dragon, making it 2 dragons to 0, is a bit of a gold deficit they're putting themselves in now.
That's true. I wonder if they could have even sent 3 guys top, like run Voyboy there as well, go for the tier 2.
Go for the second turret, yeah.
Yeah, take something even bigger than a red buff off of the assumed dragon take, but red buff steals all Curse gets, and it's going to be a 1,700 gold game. compLexity, you know, I was actually talking to Koobs in their green room earlier today, and he was saying he actually wished they could play the full starting lineup of CLG this week, because he said, our early games are so good, we wanted vengeance and prove that we could beat one of these top teams. He said, you know, they're feeling very confident coming into this week.
Right. Well, it was Curse again who had first blood, but because of the dragon steal, Curse has never had that early game lead, which puts them in a very precarious situation since Curse still hasn't displayed great playmaking when behind in games.
It's true. We'll see if they can get some better objective trades than a red for a dragon, or if they're going to let this peter out. We're going to see what kind of damage threats they even have in this game as Cop tries to hold on to this lane. compLexity are going to get this turret. Get excited for Robert. Decides not to go in. About to run into 3 people, but Kez is trying to ward up this Nunu. We've really yet to see much of anything from Dominate so far.
Things are going to get so interesting this Super Week if compLexity wins this game, Freak. Yeah, it's going to be a race down there for that final playoff spot. Curse, as you mentioned before the game, with the win here, would basically have to lose the remaining 3 games with compLexity going 3-0 in order to not take 6th. Yet, if Curse loses this one to compLexity, it is a 1-game difference. And compLexity would hold the tiebreaker.
See if they can find that. There we go. Quas looking for vengeance onto Prolly. Some damage comes through. Nice slow. The Flash Force Shockwave only catches the support, and Prolly doesn't care too much about that. Xpecial going to be going down rapidly. IWillDominate takes a rocket in the face, and here comes Westrice. Puts the ulti down, and they're going to keep chasing onto this one. Looks like Curse going to lose one, half the force away.
I believe the Braum shield stopped Voyboy's command attack, which then made the Shockwave miss, which is why Prolly got out with his life there. Didn't even have to burn his Syndra ult, and now compLexity is 5 strong in the mid lane. And
this mid lane turret's going to take a whole bunch of pain right there. It's not enough for Curse to defend. 2 shots to go. RobertxLEE takes that one out. Low health and mana bars, though. compLexity will back off with a kill and a turret as their spoils of war.
And this is turning into a pretty big edge. Curse needs to make something happen now. They're going for it, but Braum is a tough man to get through.
The mustache synergy there, man. Braum plus Bubbadub. Match made in heaven for these guys. Going to keep
really is.
Yeah.
Surprised it's not a permaban.
Exactly. Or a first pick all the time here. You get that one late in champs, like, but the counterattack now Curse saying, you know what, you guys are low on resources. We can push mid back. This is tough for compLexity. If they stay too long, they
teleport
could
down for Westrice as well. I almost feel like compLexity wants to give this one up to be safe, but instead Curse decides to back away.
Well, Xpecial is all summoned.
They did run out of minions, which was pretty key.
Yeah. Looks like that was just enough time. Mid laner and jungler went back.
Yeah, so this was the game. Quas goes for the knockout first, and let's watch. Yep, see?
Yep.
The Orianna ball will not go through a Braum shield. Voyboy assumed it would and was trying for the quick shockwave. That's why Prolly stayed alive. At that point, Xpecial was overcommitted. He got finished in. The teleport from Westrice is actually ineffective because they were running away anyways and they had nothing to follow with the Maokai. But when all was said and done, it was the play of Bubbadub that created that action. well, created the kill.
Yeah, it was wonderful, and they got a turret for it as well, even though Curse was the one ganking. Great reactive play by compLexity. They all got there in time. Even Jinx managed to show up from press R, so that was pretty cool. But Curse are back. They really want this turret. Bubbadub taking a bit of damage. Tormented Soil there as well. Turret now down to 1/3 HP. Cop not really being threatened here. 2 shots from dead. Turret goes down. Curse find that. compLexity were pushing top and bottom with Robert and Westrice during that time.
Westrice just trying to farm up as much as possible. When he can get his Spirit Visage, it will be a really big moment for that Maokai. Knowing that it's already Lulu Ori double AP, the fact that Kog'Maw is a heavy amount of magic damage on AD carry as well. Yeah. It's almost tanky. It's almost tankier than a Mundo.
Yeah.
In the right situation. If he keeps his damage reduction on and if he's able to proc his passive for the % health heal on auto attacks.
Think about how many low cooldown spells there are on Curse. Double Athenes, right? Orianna Q is what, like a base 3-second cooldown in the first place?
Every auto attack basically will be a heal for Westrice if we get into those big chaotic team fights.
That is a scary tree. I'm just saying.
It will be. If he could ever get to a Spirit Visage and then builds, obviously cooldown reduction is needed, but a Warmhog's on top of that, he would just be unkillable.
Oh my gosh, that would be really rough. Oh, the blue buff. Yep, so sorry, for some reason I thought Morgana was on the other team, and Voyboy like narrowly dodged a Dark Binding because of the Golem. I was like, what a great respawn, but nope. Voyboy grabs the blue pretty securely. No counter juggling at all from compLexity so far.
Yeah, but Dragon in 15 seconds, and look at the vision right now.
Again.
Curse doesn't have vision. compLexity does. That's good for compLexity. They can definitely get some picks out of the Fog of War here, which is why Curse is trying to push the top lane, knowing they have the teleport advantage. compLexity may be willing to give up a turret for this Dragon here.
You know what's funny is Curse could rush at Baron at any time. They have ward control and a Nunu Kog'Maw, and they would force compLexity off this. It's not going to happen. Dragon, 3rd time in a row, goes to Kez right here. They're up 3. They're up 2 kills. They're up 3 dragons. They're up 4,000 gold.
But after this, probably down a turret. Maybe a couple, because Curse is trying to roam and find a fight here. What you doing, Westrice? It's go time!
He's trying to fight up against Quas here. Both teams making their way gingerly over to this lane. Westrice wins that trade pretty hard, but there's the bind and a Kez shot comes in. That's a dead Elise. And now Bubbadub might have to just pop the ulti and run away, but he's still taking damage. Second kill picked up for Cop, and now Robert's got to be real careful. Flash the wall, but Cop's going to chase him down. He wants a triple. He gets it.
Hey, you're talking about Baron as well after that catch. They're going to be able to do that, Baron.
And the shutdown goes over for Voyboy off the trade on only Xpecial. Smites up for Dominate. This could be it.
Wow, that completely changes the complexion of this game. Curse finding a fight in the jungle when compLexity was rotating through late. compLexity had so many wards in the Dragon area, they did not ward their own jungle as they were moving through, and Curse completely capitalized here. They're going for this Baron. Westrice might try and stop him.
He is a very tanky tree, and he can do plenty of damage.
Go for Voyboy.
There's a sapling.
Anyway.
Flashes in for Cop, actually.
Oh, Elise is here for the steal.
The ulti comes in. There's Kez. He picks up the jungler, and now Cop's getting chased out. And compLexity turned back around. 1/4 health. Cop helps Baron go down faster with some spells. He wants to push Westrice off. Westrice could heal on an auto attack. Kez gets the shield. They're barely killing this thing in time. He's got to land the smite, though. That's the Baron. Nasher picked up a compLexity. Find the Baron. But here comes Quas, half HP, blown up by RobertxLEE. Are there more kills to be picked up? Cop is 1 hit from dead. They chase out Xpecial first, though. They're going to trade that one down, and like 3 or 4 kills come in for Curse.
Holy crap, Freak. That was a ridiculous series of events. I would say MVP there was the Home Guard enchantment on Kez's boots, because he got there so fast. Curse thought they were just going to have to deal with the Maokai, and then when Elise showed up, all hell broke loose. Curse was already low from the fight and the Baron, and compLexity came in one after the other as their respawn timers and Home Guard boots got them there.
Yeah.
And they're back in control.
And I gotta say, beautiful patience by Westrice as well. He
going in at the right time, yeah.
Right. It's like, okay, at about 4,000 health, then I'll go in. Watch this. He waits around, has the
just
ward.
Look at this. He's really waiting for Elise. And he says, all right, they're here. I'm going on Cop because he's the biggest threat to Baron right now, knowing Kez can deal with Dominate. He deals with Dominate real quickly, and they push Curse off. And at this point, what you really do is Curse. They don't want to go off the Baron, but come on, you guys are solo. They're waiting actually on the respawn of Quas because he's saying, guys, I can teleport in. But something miraculous happens when he teleports in. he just takes a huge amount of damage. There's
Zap Flame Chompers. What can you do about that?
He just
Robert was
jumped
there
into
right
a trap
on time.
right there. RobertxLEE again coming from the base. And they just completely clean up.
Jeez.
All right, then.
Yeah.
So now we're here.
And compLexity are up 5,500 gold.
Westrice actually goes not for a Spirit Visage, but for a Locket of the Iron Solari.
Okay.
It's understandable because it gives the team more tankiness. They're just a little bit less individual stats. Still gives them the cooldown reduction and the MR, just not the enhanced healing.
Yeah. And what an... I mean, knowing Westrice, what an interesting choice in build. This is the old Akali main. This guy wants to one-on-one everybody all the time. And he came in week 1, actually, with the worst stats of the top laners. Hundreds of, like, not
Ooh, this is
a lot of
dangerous.
deaths. And he's grown so much as a player, though. Right? Full utility focus, setting up the team, perfect patience there to go for the Baron fight at the right time. To me, most improved player of the split.
Definitely shows up. He even drew an Aurelia ban.
Yep. I mean, he knocked down Zion Spartan last week. Heavily sort of regarded as one of the best top laners.
That's a lot of wards.
That is a lot of vision, but it's like
wants to
for
see
both
people.
teams, basically.
Yeah.
They're like alternating.
A lot of this could revolve around one catch. It's a little bit harder to catch Curse because they can put so many shields down on a single target.
Oh.
And you don't generally kill a Maokai at this point in the game, so it's still a good bit of damage. Prolly would love to come in from behind the turret and pick someone off, but it is just such a dangerous place for Syndra to be.
There's so much counter engage, though. Like, diving Curse would be hard. Morgana ulti, absolute 0. Lulu ulti, whoever gets big. You CC someone before they can flash out. Like, that's a pretty big risk. Thankfully, compLexity do have a fair bit of range here. They're trying to poke this turret down slowly but surely. Robert gets to lifesteal off of the double golems a little bit.
It's interesting that they're having so much difficulty pushing this outer turret. This is generally one of the most dangerous or impossible turrets to defend against because teams will always provide a flank threat. So that would be Westrice and Kez kind of behind the turret while the rest of compLexity assaults from the front. But I think they're so afraid of Curse just rushing down the lane if Westrice and Kez try a flank attack that they're unable to siege this turret. I mean, the fact that Curse can hold this outer tier turret while compLexity had the Baron buff on quite a few people means compLexity needs to pull some tricks to actually get meaningful damage done to the structures of Curse.
Looks like they're just not quite able to. In fact, a big wave pushed the other side around to the top side, but it's compLexity who wants to stay it down here because Dragon's coming up. Push that gold lead a bit farther to maybe 7k. Westrice actually does go top, but he has TP.
I wonder if Curse could find a quick initiation and Westrice would be slow to the party. You can see compLexity is very hesitant about this Dragon. They are respecting the teamfight potential of Voyboy's Orianna. That shockwave really turned that fight in the jungle before the Baron debacle happened. What a nice stun.
Yeah. Can't see the pink ward, though. But ward's still going back and forth. Both of them go down. Trades pretty equal. The game is incredibly close here, but the 6,000 gold lead in the start there. Flame Choppers come down, and down it goes right away. Last hit goes over to RobertxLEE, but more gold for compLexity. 4 of 4 dragons, every Baron as well, of course. These guys are playing the objectives very well. Curse have not found their way in.
I hope Prolly went to the bathroom before this game, because I think it's going to be a long one. Just based on how unsuccessful that push in the bottom lane was.
Yeah.
And the pattern of compLexity games in the past. They are most likely going to try to build up a huge insurmountable lead before going in, and Curse is going to be a little bit gun-shy about making big moves based on that Baron play that happened. Meanwhile, I think compLexity would hold a slight edge late game, mainly because Maokai will be so unkillable, and Jinx will be able to really clean up those late game team fights.
Yeah, one of the big things about Kog'Maw, actually, is even though he's the sort of anti-tank champion, right? A lot of percent health damage, percent shreds and whatnot. His W's only on half the time. So if you don't die after the first 8 seconds, he's now a 500 range AD carry against a Syndra, which is not a good thing to be at all. So they can theoretically tank out comp's W and then be like, all right, bring it, you can't fight us. And Maokai's good at making that happen.
It really depends how much farm Westrice can get during the stall phase as well. You can see how Westrice is trying to be a split pusher right now. So they're trying to give Maokai the empty lane farm. They really know that in order to close this game out, he not only has to tank the team of Curse, but also the turrets, which is one of the reasons I think he's gone with that Randwin's right, or going with the Warden's Mail right now.
Yeah. Could be towards Frozen Heart. We'll see which way it is. Froggen, the man who played mid Malphite yesterday.
In a 100-kill game.
Yeah.
That was very sad. I'm playing against Yutwin in one of my fantasy leagues, and he has Froggen, Tabs, and Kerp on his team. That hurt. I still might win.
Yeah?
We'll see.
There's a chance. I thankfully grabbed Creatine a couple weeks ago. That was a good choice. All right, let's see. So Westrice actually have seen him win most of these fights against Quas. In general, it feels like he has good headway here. Just does so much initial damage to him.
I don't think it's possible for them to kill each other, though, at this point in the game. They can hurt each other and set up kills for others, which is the main thing they're going to be watching out for, which is why Quas is falling back right now.
But look at this by compLexity. They managed to get their way around the jungle and in on this bottom tier 2. That one does go down, making it 5-3 in turrets now. And Baron's back up, but compLexity don't have wards on it yet. Not enough, I would say.
I would be really impressed if compLexity can close this game within the next 10 minutes. Basically because it would mean they have really grown as a team, right? Especially if they want to become a playoff contender. Obviously winning this game is a big step towards that, which would mean they kind of want to take it slow. But if they could somehow do more moves like that, chip down the turrets, force another Baron, get a fight, and just roll that through to a victory, that would be like a top-tier team type move.
Yeah. And it's interesting to see, you talk about compLexity growing as a team, playing well. Kez definitely is a sort of risk-averse style shot caller. He's actually a really big departure from Broken Shard. He just wants to fight all the time. But it does give them some very, very slow games when they're ahead. They
don't have vision at Baron. They let it drop because they were pulling off too many moves down bottom.
Ward comes down, half HP on this one. The whole team is here,
really making a move right here.
But the ball's in a really good spot. It was right in the brush, too, which is great by Voy.
Yeah. They fall back at the appropriate moment.
Bottom wave pushing away from Curse's base. Top wave roughly treading water. compLexity now own the vision game here. I believe there's one ward still in Baron for Curse, though. Only one pink in the inventory of compLexity.
And Prolly will have to use that one wisely. They have to make sure that they don't give up positioning.
Great ball by Voy.
Who can land the spells first? The interesting thing here is if Curse lands something, Bubbadub and Westrice are such a powerful front line that they may be able to stop the initiation. But how do they actually get on Cop?
W's down right now for a few seconds, but they don't use that to go in. Voy gets slowed.
Ooh, Voy's really low on mana. That's really bad for Curse as a whole. He would not be able to stick around in the team fight for very long, unless he stops casting spells for about 30 seconds to let that Athene's regen his mana up a bit.
Or maybe they'd one-shot someone to get the mana back from that, but it seems to not be the case here. Curse definitely giving compLexity room to breathe. If these guys get in through the choke point, Curse backs up. They're not able to say, you know what, stand on this ball.
Forget about it, please.
Yeah. But Voy has been putting, anytime they retreat, he's putting it right in the choke point.
Baron goes down really fast, too. Curse is basically forced into a situation where they either check or push mid, but the Scrying Orb from Cobb, great timing.
Oh, there's a Dark Binding. Can they get the engage here? Curse gonna back off, stun. Forces the flash away from Xpecial.
Yikes.
There's a Summoner Spell down, and compLexity fairly healthy here.
And they know that there's only so many Scrying Orbs you can use on the Baron Pit. It's on cooldown now. This one is harder for Curse to push in on. They're getting pretty chunked down.
Bubbadub goes to knock up. There's IWillDominate. They go in on the Nunu, and he goes down. Flash from Prolly, but he trades his life for it. Bubbadub trying to keep the team alive. Westrice still there. They stay on to Baron, and it is picked up there by Kez. 1-for-1 so far. The fight continues. Westrice in the front line. It's not going to go down. There's Cop. Goes in with a shockwave. Wants Robert. He does get the kill. Now Quas is around, but compLexity still have 3 members alive. Kez goes gigantic, and Quas forced to run away.
What a fight, though. That was really just an all-in from both teams. Quas probably going to get away as well, but 4 kills for compLexity plus the Baron. Good lord, this game.
Curse thought that was their way back in. I feel like it's hard to give a team 2 Barons, let them keep scaling up.
Let's see exactly what happens right here. So Bubbadub tries his own. Prolly gets hit by a binding, which means he doesn't even ult at this point, which means Curse thinks they have a good chance at going in for this fight. But again, the Baron goes at the wrong time, and Cobb gets Lulu ulted really early. So really before they put a huge amount of damage onto him, and he flashes in, hoping he'd be able to clear this one up, but I believe he ate a cocoon from Keds there, stopped DPS, and the rest of compLexity could shut him down. Yet still, because compLexity lost 2 people here and were so low, they still need to be able to crack that inhibitor wall.
And with the Baron buff on roughly, what, 3 people? Maybe it's enough for them to keep regenning, but the 2 ranged champions don't have it. Kez gonna walk into a black shield and take a slow from Nunu. Dragging back up. Looks like the team's really not ready for this, though. RobertxLEE on the wrong side of the map. The Curse don't quite know that. They don't have vision around till just now. And compLexity sit 11.2 thousand ahead. They have been really focused on getting the neutral objectives in. But they've got to be careful because mid's already being pushed and they're late to the party.
Yeah, Cop is still doing a bunch of damage as well, going attack speed focused build, which synergizes well with the Pix damage. But here comes a Maokai. They want to fight. Can he get in range?
Whimsy and the slow. Voyboy says no.
All right. So teleport down. That's not too impactful at this stage of the game, because Westrice doesn't really need it to force pressure anymore since everyone's so far back.
Cursor on the wrong side, though. This turret can get backdoored, and this is going to be a while till Curse shows.
Curse is willing to come in from the side, which seems a little suicidal. Curse.
Some decent damage.
Man, this is tough.
They're trying.
They're going to lose their turret.
3-man stun in from Prolly, and this turret is dying rapidly there.
Curse has to go the other way around.
Robert. They finally go around the other way, realizing the first way didn't work. The side door of their own base. Xpecial. Oof, binding gets a minion, though.
Curse gets out-rotated right there for their inhibitor turret, something they could have easily defended if they were in position. But instead, compLexity makes a great move to move around the Curse team and cut them off from their own inhibitor. Yeah, this is a relentless amount of pressure as well. Curse is just quite low.
Cop gets the black shield, gets the Lulu shield as well. It's not going to be enough to stop the inhibitor from going down, though. The shockwave not going to land in time. Nearly caught the tail ends there, but compLexity get out safe.
I think compLexity was planning on going back to base. They might not anymore, knowing the shockwave is down.
Big wave bottom.
It would be a great time to push bottom, but instead they take the Dragon.
Risk-averse style.
Super risk-averse, man. That was a golden opportunity to push more. Baron region would have taken them all back up, and there's no shockwave threat.
Well, 30 seconds on the Baron buff means once they recall and buy, it's going to be gone. And they're going to be on equal footing aside from the 13,000 gold lead, but that means a full Infinity Edge up for the AD carry. It means actually very little across the mid laners right now. But Westrice is a gigantic tank right there. He's got the Frozen Heart on as well, so he's already got 2 auras plus his ultimate. True. Westrice, second support.
Yeah, he's an aura bot that is really hard to die.
Yeah.
You'd think if a guy has a bunch of auras, maybe we just take him out first. Yeah, it's tricky against a Maokai right now.
He still has a bit of threat himself. You saw him do a fair bit of damage when he tried to stop the Baron earlier in this game, and that worked out well for compLexity. 0-1-6, not a remarkable score, but to be honest, still a very well-played game by the man. Looks like top now, the area of attention. Zhonya's Hourglass completed for Prolly. So there you're seeing kind of 1 full item per roll down the line here for compLexity.
That's pretty damn substantial too. If we're talking about these team fights, Voyboy yet to land a great shockwave as well. That's pretty much what they would need. They would need a fantastic shockwave and probably a fair bit of turret help as well. I mean, we even saw a fight where Curse was able to kill Prolly before he could use a Syndra ultimate, and compLexity still won the fight. There is just a huge amount of things that need to go exactly right for Curse to win a team fight.
It might just start with the ball you see on your screen right here. Can compLexity play around it? Orianna, definitely one of the better defenders. You see him put it out and then walk plenty far back to not be in range of any engage himself. Quas is the guy on defense duty. They say Orianna Cog's enough to defend top lane.
That's the crappy thing about having Kog'Maw as your only main threat right here. They would love to have someone with better wave clear defend that super minion wave off, but Lulu's the best they got at it. He's full-time defending, which means they have to 4v5. And
it's still down to half HP.
Jeez. The critical thing about defending those super minion waves is to never let two super minions get together.
Yeah.
They have an aura that gives a whole bunch of stats, and it double buffs each other. So it works both ways. They become much stronger when they're two super minions together.
Yeah, the MR goes from like -30 to 10, which is a substantial damage loss when you're someone like Lulu or Kog'Maw. Magic damage kind of relevant in those cases. And the damage gets buffed a bunch as well. They go in a little bit there. Bubbadub loses a quarter of his health. But this is actually RobertxLEE down to half, though. He's got to be pretty careful. Ulti lands as well.
2 shots from Kog'Maw.
He needs to lifesteal off his Bloodthirster. Oh,
They're getting a little bit aggressive here. Black Shield is off, though.
Dominate gets sent away, though. There's
Can't
the
use
rest
any more alts
of the Banshees.
Running complexity off their base there.
There's a big wave in mid, though. They've got to react to, like, right
they
now.
They got to go back.
Oh, my God.
There's a chance complexity to cut him off again. They want to fight right now.
They get the new flash ults from Xpecial. He pops the Zonias. This is a fight Curse must win, and Dominate's going to go down. Bubbadub claims the kill. Prolly and Robert very low. Shockwave catches 2. Can they keep chasing? Cop goes in. He finds Robert. Can he keep going? Bubbadub goes down. Westrice and Kez, the only ones alive. Cop still dealing damage. The inhibitor response in mid. Curse are safe here, and they are still chasing. Black Shield on for Xpecial. Puddle goes down. Westrice got no mana. 1-2 more shots from Cop. That will be the kill picked up. That is a 4 for 2 for Curse.
And Baron is up right now. Holy crap. We talked about all the things, Freak, that needed to go right for Curse to win a fight.
Yeah.
And most of those things were true. RobertxLEE and Prolly were too low to get engaged in a fight. Again, Prolly could not get his ultimate. That binding from Xpecial, absolutely critical. But then watch Robert. Over the wall, Cop is hitting him a few times. Neither of those guys are doing damage, so it's just the tank line. And who cares about tanks if you can go past them? Shockwave kills one, Cop flashes for another, puts on that aggressive mindset that he needs to have when he is the only threat in a team. And at that point, Maokai and Elise are not much without the backup of their damage dealers. They get ran down, and the inhibitor timing for respawning was absolutely exquisite. Curse keeps themselves alive in this game, but because of the amount of minions in their base, the Baron could not be secured.
And so actually ward control might just stay on complexity's side as Dragon comes up fairly soon. And we talked about the item leads that were here for complexity because of the gold lead. RobertxLEE, I think, got literally 1 or 2 basic attacks off on champions that fight.
Yeah, and Prolly didn't get to use his ultimate.
Yeah, Prolly has really just not been able to do much damage himself either, despite having the Zonias actually as well. Unless he popped it, I don't think so.
He did pop it, but that's after he was already low, and then afterwards he got killed by Orianna. That is one of the things you opt into when you pick Syndra, though. It is much more of a lane bully champion, and she has immense vulnerabilities in team fights if teams are good about getting on top and pushing her out of team fights. And that is really a struggle Prolly has had to deal with in this game.
These guys are rushing.
That is not a good time.
Prolly did not press the right buttons there. He's got a good 3-man shockwave. Prolly forced out of the fight, gets a shield. Keslow as well. Bubbadub knocked into the air. Westrice trying to run away with the ulti on. They're still trying to run, though. This is a fight that Complexity do not think they can win. Binding's going to miss. Voyboy gets stunned and slowed. They will back off, and now Curse.
They want this, but Complexity still has 5 people alive. We've seen this before. What's going to happen this time? Complexity's a little bit lower.
5 low health players.
What a
3-man stun in from Prolly. Are they going to stay on Baron? Looks like yes. Dominate wants it. Ulti's going to get Xpecial, and now Curse don't want it. But Complexity do? Are you serious?
Of course they do. Look at how low Voyboy is right now. They think they can zone off.
Oh! Dominate cannot spite it in time. Flashes it and dies for it. Voyboy, 1 hit from dead. 5v3 on the map with Baron.
Curse had to run away right there. They were not content just keeping the game equal despite being able to win fights at their base, and instead they try and force a Baron with nobody dead on the other side. Not a good idea. Now they have substantial death timers, an exposed inhibitor, and maybe more to lose.
15 seconds on Xpecial, 25 on IWillDominate. Will they backdoor a turret? Will Curse even try to defend this? Shockwave is back up. West is tanky, though.
Ultimate is back for Prolly as well. If he lands a stun, there's not enough. I don't think there's enough shielding alive.
Oh, the black shield is down, and the cocoon lands, slowed by Braum as well. And they're going to do the damage on... Wow! Down goes Voyboy. Did not have a Zhonya's. That is the mid laner gone for a minute.
Or any substantial magic resistance. This is just maybe another move that could win compLexity a game. You never know, though, in these compLexity versus Curse games.
Risk
Voyboy
aversion.
is dead.
They go bot lane here.
And they still have Baron on 5 people. Westrice going back to base. He's going to teleport back.
Red buff steal.
May as well renew it. They're just waiting for the Maokai and the creep wave anyway. They want to get this third inhibitor. They have 30 seconds. If they get the third inhibitor here, they may as well wrap up the game.
There's
How
a TP.
are they going to defend? It's 4v5.
Invincible minion, 4v5 for 20 seconds. Bubbadub in the front line takes some damage from Cop. This turret's going to be going down. Get excited. They slow down Cop. Black shield's on, but he walks away just in time. Binding hits Kez, but there's no follow-up there. 10 seconds on Voyboy. 3 inhibitors dead. There's a big minion wave. Baron buff still on.
Freak, for all the times that Prolly was getting caught in bad positions in team fights, he made up for all of them with those 2 big plays he just made. The stun over the wall while Curse was doing Baron to do a substantial amount of damage and push Curse completely off, followed by the kill onto Voyboy, which basically secured them the second and third inhibitor and will make clearing minions an absolute chore for Curse in the next few minutes.
And they're going to do that as much as they can.
And we still got over 15 minutes before we're at the average game time of this matchup.
We are their second fastest right now.
Yeah.
38-43. Wait, am I on the wrong sheet?
Yeah. And if
Sorry,
we follow the
43-25.
trends, if we follow the trends, the games are only getting longer. The first game was 43 minutes.
Yep.
The second was 57, and the third was 1 hour and 20 minutes. Which means we should be in for about 55 more minutes of gameplay. But I'm not really sure how that's going to happen with the current state of things.
Hashtag 90 minutes the dream, guys.
Wouldn't it be like 105 if we keep the trends? Or wait, no, 100.
Let's see. Well, it went plus 14 and then plus 23. So it's accelerating. The increase in time is going up. So it's like plus 30 minutes. About an hour and 50 would be the pattern there.
Yeah, there's a real chance, though, the compLexity ends on this push. Curse is incredibly hard-pressed to keep the minions at bay. There's a huge risk that a Stray will get caught out by Syndra and push things off. Even if Curse starts launching an offensive, the super minions are together, so they are so incredibly powerful. And basically, Curse needs to devote a third to half of their spell and mana pools just into clearing minions, and 2/3 of Curse's team is not enough to fight off 5 Baron members of compLexity.
Big stun of Xpecial ulti comes by, ignites Sonya's, but low health bars on Curse. Here comes the push, knockup comes through, support is dead, and here come the super minions as well. Basically a 6-on-4, the dive comes in, IWillDominate falls over, and this is going to surely be the game. compLexity in about 46 minutes, gonna own the tiebreaker against Curse and be 1 win away from playoffs. 1 game behind Curse.
This makes things so fascinating for the remainder of SuperWeek. That was the game Curse targeted for a win. compLexity knew how important this was as well. The fact that they pulled that off means it's go time.
So all they need now is a record that for the rest of the 3 games is 1 win better than Curse, and they're going top 6.
Yeah.
They said at the start of the split, compLexity, we know we're underdogs. We know teams are going to overlook us, but all we want to do this split is get better.
Well, they've definitely done that. They are substantially better from the team that entered the North American LCS some months ago. That game in particular, breaking out the new top lane pick from Westrice with Maokai, but really a lot of really crazy decisions around the Baron pit, and compLexity coming out on top of those again and again, holding a lead ever so slightly, and actually finishing the game in 46 minutes, which for compLexity is fast.
Yeah, it is.
So